6 minutes after the hour of 3 o'clock.
90 degrees in Bradenton, 92 in Lakeland, 88 in St. Petersburg, 91 in Clearwater, in Tampa, 89 degrees on News Radio 970 WFLA. Next news, 4 o'clock, bulletins at once. I'm Don Richards.
Lassiter, News Radio 970 WFLA.
7.5 minutes after the hour of 3 o'clock. Not 6 minutes after the hour of 3 o'clock, but 7.5 minutes after the hour of 3 o'clock. Welcome aboard. It is a Thursday, June the 8th, 1989. Lassiter with you. You probably have already detected that I'm in very, very foul humor. I've told you people that I lead a sheltered life. I had a business appointment today over by the Tampa Stadium of all places, and then coming back over here. I would go out of my mind if I had to drive around in that crap out there every day, all day. You people are to genuinely be commended. Why you guys have not taken over, I don't know, the Franklin Street Mall and protested or something until they brought the tanks in to gun you down is beyond me. But that's not why I came here to talk to you today. We have a guest on the phone line, an old friend of this program. It was about a year ago, I suppose, Tony Bastanzio, that you were on with me, correct?
I think so, Bob.
Just about a year. How you doing, Tony?
Well, I guess I'm making a few waves here and there. Other than that, fair to middling.
You're still in the KKK business, right?
Yes, sir.
Tony, last you were on, you were getting ready to move and run for sheriff somewhere around the Orlando area. Did you do that?
Well, it was basically in Lake County. No, since that particular time, I was convicted of possession of marijuana in 1979 in Polk County. Possession of 47 grams of marijuana, which has followed me all the way through my life up until the point that I was a candidate or pre-filed as a candidate for Lake County Sheriff.
Well, it was against the law, Tony.
Well, certainly. I mean, but, there's other people in other worst crimes that have been going on. I mean, it's 1989 and they still haven't given me my rights back. So about 4 months ago, I went in front of Brother Martinez up there, that Spaniard. And
the Spaniard?
Huh?
The Spaniard.
Yeah, I thought we'd bought Florida away from them a long time ago, but at any rate, what ended up happening, I went before him and asked the Board of Executive Clemency and the Probation and Parole Commission, after 10 years, why I didn't have my rights back, or the right to keep and bear arms, or the right to vote. And they said, well, number one, Tony, we've heard that you've carried firearms. And I said, sir, that's hearsay. I thought you'd heard about that down there in the Tampa Bay area. And the second reason is because I had agoraphobia, which are basically...
Can't you get some kind of cream or something to put on that?
Huh?
Can't you get some kind of cream or something to put on that?
Well, he claims, I guess, because I have agoraphobia, I couldn't have my rights back to keep and bear arms because I might go crazy and shoot somebody or something. And the third reason, specific one...
Aren't too many tall buildings in Lake County. I mean, I don't really understand what the problem would be.
Maybe run out in front of a tractor trailer or something, possibly, down here on the Mug Farms, because that's where I'm at, just north of the, Lake Apopka, which is basically all Mug Farms. But other than that, he said the reason was because I'd badmouthed the present administration. I said, well, that's freedom of speech. So him and I got in a little argument up there, so to speak, and I called him a wetback again, which didn't look too pretty in front, the governor and his people. But at any rate,
I would imagine that most reasonable people, if you were trying to get them to do you a favor and you called them a wetback, would probably react in the same way.
Well, that's the difference between you and I, Bob. He's not doing me a favor. He is supposed to support the Constitution as the governor of this state, and I don't care what he thinks about me. So, I just felt that way. I drove 236 miles. It's been 10 years since I got my rights taken away.
Well, do you think there's any possibility that perhaps as the elected official of all the people in the state of Florida that he thought it might have been somewhat inappropriate for a guy, who's dead set against black people who apparently has a problem with quote-unquote Spaniards and Lord only knows who else?
Well, that's not
Jews,
the point. The Constitution clearly states, and so do the laws, that I should get my rights back regardless of my ideology and who I like or dislike. And
I thought the Constitution stated that it was at his discretion.
What Constitution?
The one that you were referring to.
You mean the United States?
I don't know which Constitution you were referring to.
Well, I don't either. There's several these days. Of course, these days things are going to hell anyway. I'm sure you'll agree, including the traffic. But, the Constitution that Florida goes under, which I don't pay any attention to that piece of trash anyway, I believe in the U.S. Constitution.
Perhaps that was another reason that he might have been somewhat reluctant to allow you to run for sheriff, a man who says he does not support the Constitution of the state in which you live.
Well, I support the U.S. Constitution to a certain extent, but understand, as a law enforcement or head law enforcement officer of a particular county, I have no other choice but to dictate, protect, and serve the law or, the people that elected me into office in this particular county.
Well, now, Tony, there seems to be a problem right there. As a citizen of the United States of America, you are asked to protect the rights of all people.
True.
And not to, particularly go out of your way to dislike people because of race, creed, national origin, color, religion, sex, age, things of that nature.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's true, but at the same time, you have to understand, Bob, I am in an organization that sticks up for the interests of white people. At the same time, as sheriff of a particular county, I would not discriminate towards black. I'm a segregationist.
Are you winking now?
Huh?
Are you winking now?
No, am I winking?
Yeah.
Oh, I let him up. I fire him up anytime. But, that's just me. What I'm talking about is becoming the head law enforcement officer of a particular... I'm going to run in 92. In fact, I've got plans to see Mr. Martinez in federal court over here in Orlando before long. You can watch the live wires on that one. And I will win. There's no question in my mind that a federal judge will see my point of view that constitutionally, after 10 years, I've never had any prior convictions. I haven't even had a traffic violation.
Are you still on welfare?
Am I what?
Are you still on welfare?
No, I'm not on welfare.
You're not on welfare anymore?
I have never been on welfare.
Oh, come on, Tony.
I haven't.
I swear last time we talked, you were on disability.
I'm on Social Security, my Social Security.
Well, it's welfare.
That's not welfare.
Sure it is.
It's 100% disability.
It's still welfare.
No, welfare is much different than that.
Well, what's welfare then?
Well, welfare is basically...
getting a check from the government, right?
Well, it's not a check, but yeah, it's regulated by the government, but Social Security is my money.
You still doing yard work?
The money that I spent. Well, that's basically where most of it was spent. I had 17 employees working for me. I was paying Social Security for my personal. It's not welfare. SSI to me is welfare. I'm not getting that. What I'm getting is my Social Security if I was 65 years old.
No, it's still SSI, isn't it?
What's that, SSI?
Isn't that SSI?
No, there's another part of that they add on to it if you're either your spouse or whether you're a female and your husband's working, that you can get more money than that. But, I only draw $465 a month.
Are you still doing yard work?
I haven't been doing yard work for over 2 years.
How long have you been on disability?
About a year and 4 months.
Okay. The primary reason that I invited you on the show today is that you seem to have a gripe with one of my favorite organizations, the gourmet vending machine people, Tom's.
Mm-hmm.
I read in the paper where you got a big thing. Which problem here with would you get a stale-back potato chips or something?
No, the issue that we're facing here is the kosher mark, which is a symbol by two Jewish organizations, which started back in 1929 to kosher mark foods.
Yeah.
Tom's has just accepted this symbol on their products, basically saying that they are kosher. And I think that it's a farce and a scam by the Jewish community to not only...
Are you suggesting that Tom's food really is not kosher, and you're standing up for the Jewish people?
No, I just don't think that the Christian people should have to pay the tax for the extra kosher.
They don't have
mark.
to. It's not required. Oh, I beg your pardon. It's only
let me ask you something, Bob.
Only
if the kosher mark is so original.
Jews.
I like Tom's products, but...
Tony, where is it required that Tom's or anybody else has to put a kosher mark on their food?
Oh, well, the Jewish community, I've got several papers in here that say that the Jewish community boycotts people that don't accept
Well,
it.
the Orthodox Jews do, but that doesn't require Tom's to put a kosher mark on their
No, but
products.
I mean, there's 1,700 companies in this country today accepting the kosher mark on things such as aluminum foil.
1,700 countries?
1,700 companies.
Companies, I'm sorry.
And it's not correct. I mean, how can you kosher mark aluminum foil?
I wonder how many companies we have in this country.
I don't know. About 1,700 that are accepting the K or the U. And most Christians and most people don't know what it is, that it's costing, the product is costing.
Come on now. Maybe some yahoos don't know what it is.
I figured it up last night on Maxwell House Coffee.
Yeah.
That the Jewish community makes $25 million a year just off their K mark on Maxwell House Coffee.
And how
You've heard all the Jew jokes. I mean, let's face the facts. Who's got all the money?
I've heard a lot
country?
of redneck jokes, too. I've heard a lot of redneck jokes, too. I don't understand what jokes I've I've heard suddenly enter into the
Well,
conversation.
everybody knows who's got all the money in this country. There's no question about it. Our federal government sends to Jews $11 million a day. And that's a fact.
Well, the federal government also sends to guys that own, landscaping businesses $456 a month, too.
Well, that's true. But I earned mine.
You earned yours.
Mm-hmm. I've worked since I was 14
Well, wait a
years of
second.
age.
Wait a second. I thought you said the Jews had all the money.
They do have all the money.
Well, then how
they
is it?
control our government.
Then how is it that the government's sending the money?
Sending the money to me, you mean?
No, to the Jews. You
Well,
said,
they are sending the money. They send $11 million of American taxpayers' money
but
to
if
Israel every day.
If the Jews have all the money, then they wouldn't have to do that.
Well, they control most of the money. They control the media. And I bet the
Control the
biggest
media.
guy that runs your radio station's a Jew.
Jeez, Terry
That owns the most
Jacobs.
stock. Put your money where your mouth is, Bob. I bet you.
Guy's name's Jacobs. I don't know if he's Jewish or not.
What's his first name?
Jacobs.
Is it Joseph Jacobs?
No, Terry.
Oh.
Yeah, but the
Well,
last
I
guy
don't
that
know.
owned the station, his name was McQueen.
Well, it's a possibility.
I don't
but I
think he was
guarantee
Jewish.
the man that owns the most stock in your radio station is a Jew.
Oh, so what?
What do you mean, so what?
Just what I said. So what?
Well, their attitude is basically expressed on your show.
Their attitude is basically expressed on my show. I doubt it very much. I always make fun of him.
You make fun of Jews?
No, Terry Jacobs.
Oh.
And the other people that, run the place.
Well, then you're one of the best straightforward commentators I've heard then.
Well, that has nothing whatsoever to do with, how I feel about Jews. That's just my talent.
Well, true. That's possible.
And I suspect that, I suspect that if indeed, the Jews ran the station and weren't too happy about you, that, you wouldn't be on.
Well, no, that's possible, too, but I guess they're probably hoping that I'll make a fool out of myself, and then they won't have to worry about me. But at the same time, they control Hollywood.
No, we weren't hoping that you'd make a fool out of yourself. We were counting on it,
I'm
actually.
planning that on that I will, but no, it's not a joke.
We're rather amused by you. You show up at Clearwater, nobody's there. You show up in St. Petersburg, nobody's there.
Yeah, there was plenty of black people
Called
there.
us yesterday and told us that you're a little short on funds and couldn't come down here in person. I don't think this KKK thing is working too well for you guys.
Well, I've got to go up to Perry, and I will admit that the Klan doesn't have all the money, but that's not the important thing. The issues are what are important.
Well, wait a second. If having money or not having money is not important, what are you harping on the Jews for having money for?
I'm not harping on them for having money. I'm mad about the way that they gain or get their money.
Well, how do you think they got it?
How do you think they got it?
Yeah.
Number one, they're manipulating the people, the consumers of this country under this kosher mark.
How's that?
Well, they're putting it on aluminum foil. How can aluminum foil be kosher or dog food?
Well, it's a
matter
of sanitary conditions.
Anything can get koshered. Your big toe can get koshered if you pay the Jew enough money. And that's what it boils down to, and it's wrong.
I'll bet you $1,000 that you can't find a Jewish rabbi to bless your toe.
Well, he might for the money, it's right, because they got 600 of them in this country.
$1,000.
$1,000,
Tony.
Well, no, I won't take that bet, no.
Because
the bet in this state anyway.
Well, that's the reason you're not taking the bet, Tony. I mean, come on.
I like to abide by the law.
Yeah, right. When you were carrying around all the dope and the illegal guns?
What illegal guns?
Illegal guns that you've been accused of carrying around.
Oh, they claim I did, but that's hearsay.
You've never had a gun in your hand since your conviction for having dope in your possession?
Yeah, 47 grams of marijuana, let's be specific.
Well, it's almost 2 ounces.
That's almost 2 ounces. I mean, my God, people are going around shooting each other, and these guys are going to jail for crack cocaine, and they get slapped on the wrist.
Hey, Tony, like John Mayall said, every time you're holding, you're guilty of a crime.
What do you mean, holding a gun?
No, the dope.
Well, it was one time back in 1979. Also, I was a youthful offender. I should have had my rights reinstated automatically in 5 years. And I still haven't gotten back. And a board of executive clemency stated that I had no disqualifying factors. And then when the governor got hold of it, he said no. Of course, it could have had something to do with me calling him a wetback, of course. But that's neither here nor there. It's just my freedom of speech.
And have you had a gun in your hand since that time?
Sure.
Well, again, you're guilty of a crime.
No, my probation officer wrote me passes to go hunting the whole time I was on probation. That is in the file.
And have you had a handgun in your hand since then?
Since when?
Since your conviction.
While I was on probation?
Yeah.
While I was on probation, I had a permit to do so.
To have a handgun?
Hunting,
I asked if you had a handgun. Try to read my lips.
I did. Yeah, I had a handgun. I had a shotgun and a sidearm when I go hog hunting. That's what I did, was hog and duck hunt. And I always had a sidearm.
And, of course, where did you keep those weapons, in between hunting seasons?
In between hunting seasons? Well, neither of the guns were mine, actually. The shotgun was, but not the
You stole them?
Huh?
You stole them?
I said they weren't mine. They
I
were
know.
borrowed.
I'm saying you borrowed them.
Yeah, the shotgun was mine, but the sidearm wasn't mine.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you basically a lot of times are not as strict on, such as a, so to speak, a shotgun's kind of referred to as a rim fire in a way, like it's 22, not a center fire like a pistol.
22 minutes after the hour of 3 o'clock. Tony Bastanzio, what is your official title now?
Imperial Wizard.
Imperial Wizard. That's of the entire Florida clan?
8 states that were actually active.
8 states now. 8 states? You guys can't get up enough gas money to come from, where is it, Lakeland?
Lakeland?
No,
I'm in Lake County.
Lake County. You can't.
Small town called Astatula.
Unbelievable. 8 states and you can't get up, $10 for gas?
Well, our money is not to be used to play with. Choose to help each other. And that's some of it. I would have to pay for it myself to come over there. And I have to go up to Perry Sunday, and I couldn't afford to make both trips.
23 minutes now after the hour of 3 o'clock. Tony Bastanzio, my guest, will continue. 27 minutes after the hour of 3 o'clock, our friendly KKK guy, Tony Bastanzio, what was the title again?
Imperial Wizard.
Imperial Wizard.
Director.
Of an 8-state area. By the way, I just found out, Tony, why apparently you're on this show.
Why is that?
Well, we have both jumped to a conclusion. Terry Jacobs, he's not Jewish. He's a Methodist.
Uh-oh. Well, he's the owner of the station?
Well, he's the CEO of J-Corp Broadcasting, which is the owner of the station.
Okay, which is out of where?
Yeah, so I guess that's why you're on the show.
Probably. I would almost be, without any question, sure that most of the ties of this station just go right up to big old Jaime Town, New York.
Well, I doubt it very much. It's actually Cincinnati.
Cincinnati?
Yeah. The 3 big muckies are, Terry Jacobs, who's a Methodist, Frank Wood, who, I'm not sure what, but I've never heard of a Jew named Wood. And this other guy named Randy Michaels.
A lot of Jews, when they came over here, they changed their names because they were embarrassed of their religion or something, I guess. But at any rate,
this guy's been he's been here so long. He doesn't wear any gold flashy jewelry. He doesn't have a hook in his nose. His hair isn't curly. None of the signs that you would normally expect. A guy like you would normally expect.
True.
And Randy Michaels, I'm sure, has no known religion whatsoever. So, I can't explain that. Perhaps you could.
Well, I couldn't tell you. I'm just saying that
Very
a majority of the time,
the company
dictation on most of the radio shows, whether it be TV or radio, is dictated by the Jews.
Incredible. I've been in this business for 19 years, excuse me. Let's see, the first radio station I worked for was owned by three Protestants in Illinois. The next radio station I worked for was owned by a Baptist minister. The next radio station I worked for was owned by, then went from there up to there, back to, well, again, it was actually the same radio station and was sold to another Baptist minister now that I think about it. The next radio station I owned for was owned by a man named Art Keller. I'm not sure of Art's religious persuasion. The next radio station I worked for
not the religious persuasion. I mean, everybody has a right to be whatever
the point is, in 19 years and something like 15, 16, 17 radio stations, I've never encountered one that I know for sure was owned by a Jew.
Well, you wouldn't know if they did. You don't know who owns the stock in that company.
Well, this is probably the first radio station I think I've worked for that was really owned by public ownership. All the others were privately owned.
Mm-hmm.
That I can think of.
Well, it's possible. I'm not saying that maybe it's not dictated at your particular radio station, but most of the time the liberal attitude is dictated, and in turn says, well, if you're white and proud, you're a racist or you're a redneck. It's okay to be black or a minority or a Jew and be proud, but not if you're white.
Who says it's okay to be, black
and
or
brown? I
Jew?
would think the federal government is a big backer of that with affirmative action.
I don't know of anywhere in the federal government where there's any language whatsoever that says, be black and proud.
Well, I mean, it's not said so, but I mean, God
forbid
if the white people ever want to have a Miss White America like the blacks have a Miss Black America. God forbid that. I mean, those are just examples that,
Do you know of any white women who have been turned away from the Miss Black America contest?
Well, I don't know why they'd want to be a Miss Black America.
But do you know of any black women who have been turned away?
From Miss Black America?
Excuse me, any white women who have been turned away from Miss Black America?
I don't know.
To the best of my knowledge,
I know what the title is. I know in Daytona Beach.
Excuse me, Tony. I know what the title is too, but to the best of my knowledge, it would be against federal law for them to turn away, a white or an Oriental or an Indian, or it would be against the law. You can call the title whatever you want.
Mm-hmm.
And if nothing but black women show up, then, hey, I can't do anything about that. Nothing but white women showed up for the Miss America title for a long, long time. So there really is no problem whatsoever with having a Miss Black
titles
America.
are certainly important, too.
It's kind of like having, a Miss Indiana hog. That doesn't mean it's a contest for hogs. It means, it's a
white
contest
woman
for...
would want to be Miss Black America.
I don't know. What difference would it make?
Well, it'd make a lot of difference. I wouldn't want to be a Mr. Black America.
Why not?
Because I'm white. That would be stupid. I mean, it just wouldn't even be logical to want to be Miss Black America.
I think it's kind of stupid to enter these meat market displays anyway, don't you?
What's that? The meat markets with the kosher marks?
No, we're talking about the beauty contest. Well, we'll get back
the meat
to the kosher
markets.
markets.
Okay, well, you went off to meat. I didn't know you described women that way.
You're the one that. Well, I think it is an appropriate description when you're talking about people who parade around and say, "Oh, look at me, I got their body."
Yeah, and really the only thing I like to watch the bathing suit part anyway. So I mean, you're probably right.
What does a kosher mark mean?
A kosher mark means fit to eat.
And how do you get it?
And how do you get it?
Yeah.
Well, the rabbi goes around and inspects the industry or the particular item.
There's a little bit more to it than that, isn't there?
Huh?
There's a little bit more to it than that, isn't there?
Yeah, but the fact is,
well, why don't you tell the people?
Conspiracy to
why
not only make money.
Why don't you tell the people precisely what's involved?
Okay, them going out and inspecting. Okay, the rabbi goes with a bunch of inspectors.
Tony. No, before the rabbi shows up for inspection, why don't you tell the people what's involved?
The rabbi calls them on the phone and asks, or either that or the industry itself calls the rabbi to get the kosher mark.
No, that's not exactly it at all, is it, Tony? There's a certain amount of things that have to be done prior to the rabbi even showing up. I mean, for example, if you were in the meat slaughtering business, there are certain...
Why don't you tell everybody how they slaughter their cows to be kosher marked?
Excuse me, Tony, I was in the middle of a sentence.
I know, Bob, but you're clouding the issue. The issue
turn down his volume. For example, Tony, when you show up to inspect a meat processing plant, the meat must be processed in a certain way.
Why don't you tell them how it's processed, Bob?
Well, why don't you?
Well, they're cut from ear to ear while they're bleeding because a Jew is not allowed to eat meat with blood in it.
And where's that come from, Tony?
What do you mean, where's it come from?
Where does that law come from?
It's a Jewish ritual is what it is.
Doesn't that?
And it's done by a shahita.
Tony, doesn't that come out of the Bible?
What Bible? Their Bible, not our Bible.
Well, it would be called your Old Testament.
Talmud.
Which is your Old Testament, part of which is your Old Testament.
No, the Talmud is nothing but a bunch of garbage.
Are you calling the Old Testament a bunch of garbage, Tony?
I'm calling the Talmud a bunch of garbage. I can give you quotes out of the Talmud. Makoff 7b, Jews are innocent of murder when intent was to kill a Christian. Is that a Bible?
Well, it seems to me the Talmud was written long before Christians, if memory serves me.
Oh, well, I guess it's okay to murder a Christian.
Well, no, I said it was written long before there were Christians.
I can't even read about it, Bob. You don't know anything about the Talmud. Here's one, Midrash Telepath. Christians were created to be servants unto the Jews.
I could be wrong, Tony, but I could have sworn the Talmud was written long before Christians.
Well, I don't know anything that much about the Talmud other than what it says.
Apparently not. 3:35 the time. Tony Bastanzio, my guest. If for some bizarre reason you'd like to talk to Tony, let me give you the telephone numbers. 990-9352 in Hillsborough, 461-9352 in Pinellas. So these companies, including, Tom's, the gourmet vending people, get themselves a kosher mark by obviously paying for the inspections, paying for the rabbi, because, of course, the rabbi is an independent contractor. And more importantly, they get the kosher mark by prescribing to a certain set of standards. And you object to that?
Yeah, certainly when it involves aluminum foil, dog food, black pepper, Kool-Aid, crackers, potato chips, and a separate fee.
Which dog food has a kosher label on it?
Gaines.
Gaines has a kosher label on it.
Just like everything that General Mills puts out, whether it be, I can't wait till they kosher mark toilet paper.
Now, what do you think the Jews are doing with all these big bucks?
What do you think they're doing with them?
I'm asking you.
They're using it to turn around and control our country no differently than what the Japanese are doing.
To control the country. What kind of things are Jews doing to control the country?
Well, I mean, what talks and, what walks these days?
Well, what exactly are they doing?
For example, they run our government.
They run the government. What are they doing in the government that you object to?
Occupying, this is going to flip everybody out. They're going to think I'm nuts.
What are they doing in the government that you object to?
Well, number one, it's the liberal attitude. Number one, to deface the Constitution for what it is. Number two, the best interest of America.
Wait a second. We'll get to each one.
Okay.
What do you mean, deface the Constitution?
Deface the Constitution.
Yeah, what do you mean by that?
By the attitude.
The attitude.
I mean, let's just say, for example, myself, if I had all
a guy on welfare, yeah,
and had all the control. For example, I could use my money to persuade people to the best interest of my personal
that's
ways I like to see
defacing the
things done.
Constitution?
Huh?
That's defacing the Constitution?
Certainly it is.
Well, could you give me an example? I mean, a hard example we could all understand.
We have the Arabs where we built all the oil wells for them, okay? At one particular time. Well, when Israel got
You mean so that we
PO'd
could suck up their oil for $3 a barrel?
Well, at any rate. When Israel got PO'd at the Arabs, so did America. Okay? And now there went all our oil wells.
Wait a second, Tony. I thought the Arabs got pissed off at us.
No, they got pissed off at us because of kissing Israel's butt. But at any rate...
Well, it had nothing to do with sucking their oil for, damn near nothing.
No, but I mean, we built the oil wells. But the important issue is the consumers of America are being bombarded not only by Japanese, but by Jewish influence.
Tony, the plowshares back in the good old days were built in England. Does that mean that the English were entitled to all of the, the produce that was harvested here?
Well, no, but I mean...
Well, then why is it guys that build oil wells were entitled to all of the oil that was
Well, they weren't. We built the oil wells for them to get the oil cheaper from them, but when Israel got PO'd at them, they got PO'd at us, and we become in a big fight. That's why the Ayatollah doesn't
So that's defacing...
Huh?
That's defacing the Constitution of the United States of America.
No, I'm talking about influence, money.
Well, I asked about defacing the Constitution. You said, that the Jews are defacing the Constitution.
In this country, which liberalism and communism to me is the same thing, where the government does everything.
Well, give me a specific of defacing the Constitution with a liberal attitude.
Taking away the right to keep and bear arms.
Nobody took that right away.
They're trying.
No, they're not.
Guns,
which major group is trying to take away the right to keep and bear arms? Name one.
The Jews.
The Jews, I see.
It sounds nutty, but it's absolutely true.
Tony, where has legislation in the federal government been presented to take away your right to bear arms?
Well, I can't give you specific statutes.
I know you can't, Tony.
That's all I hear on these radio stations is playing this kid down here that shot this his sister, using that sympathy to change or persuade the minds of the people that want to keep their guns for protection. The only thing between us and communism is our guns.
Tony, nobody has ever suggested that your gun be taken away from you, have they?
Oh yeah.
Who?
Mr. Wetback.
Mr. Wetback.
Yeah, Mr. Martinez.
No, Tony, that was an editorial. I'm sorry. Okay. I'm sorry. No one has ever suggested that you are, again, editorial, you and all the guys with the sheets, that you have your guns taken away from you, have they?
Certainly they have. Every day. Every day. There's a law now in California that you cannot keep a weapon. No, there isn't. No, there's a law in California that you can't possess after, I believe it's next January the 1st, an assault rifle. Well, what's the difference between an assault rifle and a 30-06?
Without a permit.
Oh, that's stupid.
Well, it's not.
Thing I've ever heard of. That's what I mean. They're basically squeezing the life out of the Constitution.
It's not even coming close to taking away your right to keep and bear arms.
Well, it's still the same thing. I mean, the only thing that keeps the federal government in line are the people. The people are the federal government.
Tony, why do you have to lie and exaggerate to advance your position?
It's not a lie.
Yes, it is.
The only difference, the only reason our forefathers wrote that Constitution was to make sure that the federal government could not run us over. If they have the guns and we don't, where are we?
Tony. Again, I'll go back. Why do you have to lie and exaggerate to advance your position? And I will give you some specifics.
Okay.
Yeah, like, all the television and radio stations are owned by Jews.
They are.
No, they're not, Tony. You know that as well as I do. Again, it's lying and exaggerating to advance your... Are your people so numb-minded that, that's the only way you can deal with them? Or on these wild, broad, exaggerated charges? Is that the only way you can solicit membership?
But we're not talking about all the Jews. And then when the examples of you talking about the Klan not liking blacks or the ethnic group black, it's not all the blacks.
Tony, do you like blacks?
Do I like blacks?
Yeah.
Which one?
Well, just blacks in general. Do you like blacks? You know, your Bible says, love your neighbor as you love yourself.
Well, you know, now we're going into theology. Love thy. I don't have any black neighbors.
Wait a second. I beg your pardon, Tony. I thought one of the very, very important tenets of being a member of the KKK was being a Bible-believing Christian.
Well, I am, but I believe in separation at the same time.
Do you love black people, Tony?
No, I don't love black people.
Then you're not a Bible-believing Christian.
Well, I just look
man.
at it this way. I believe in separation of the races, and both races have the right to, you know, grow. But that's not the way that it is.
So you don't. So I would be correct if I said you didn't like black people.
Well, I don't know if that would be the way to explain it. I just have my differences with some of their power groups.
3:41 the time. Our local KKK guy, Tony Bastanzio, online with me. We shall take a short break and return.
News Radio 970 WFLA.
Tony Bastanzio online with me, Imperial Wizard for the KKK in the state of Florida, as well as 7 other states which we haven't identified yet. Well-known Lake County welfare recipient, former criminal, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. All-around nice guy. Tony, do you ever get discouraged that hardly anybody ever shows up at your rallies?
No, because I figure I'm just doing what I feel I have to do, and if people won't listen, oh well.
Because I the last time that you were on with me about a year ago, you were coming to Clearwater in front of City Hall, and you said you were expecting something like 1,000 people, if my memory serves me right, and you know you got basically 50 reporters and nothing else.
Mm-hmm. I don't remember the numbers, but at any rate, I guess if that's so, that's so. But I guess it happens.
Are you guys serving hamburgers this time, like you did a couple of weeks back or a couple of months back?
Where in Perry?
Yeah.
Oh, no. We'll be doing that in Bradenton the 25th.
Bradenton on the 25th hamburgers.
Yeah.
All right. Does that help draw more people out when you have food?
Well, that's what I was just going to use your thought and maybe possibly try that. No, we're just going down there to raise the Confederate battle flag since the SCV didn't.
Okay. Would you like to take some phone calls?
If there's anyone willing to talk.
Well, I've got a fair number of calls. There's one line open in each county, as a matter of fact. 990-9352, 990-WFLA in Hillsborough. In Pinellas, 461-9352, 461-WFLA. Let's go to Sefner. Hi, Seth. You're on there at 970 WFLA.
How you doing, Bob?
Oh, great.
Listen, I would like to ask this gentleman a couple of questions, and then I would like to make a statement to him if he is willing.
Sure. Oh, sure. We'll give it a try.
Okay, did I hear you correctly when you said that you believe that the state constitution is junk?
Right.
Okay, but according to what you claim to be your constitutional rights, that you feel that they should be restored to you because of the Constitution, regardless whether it be the Constitution of our nation or the Constitution of the state.
Well, the Constitution of the state overrides any, state constitution of the country. Excuse me.
But okay.
But there's any provision in the U.S. Constitution for restoring your local rights.
Well, that's the only way, under the circumstances with Martinez taking the stand that he is, the only way I can go is federal.
Did I also understand you correctly that you called Governor Martinez a wetback?
Isn't that what he is?
Well, I
thought he was a second-generation American.
How you can use such low terms for a person who you have the audacity to ask for a favor, such as...
ma'am, that's what I said before.
A turkey, a weasel, an incompetence, something like that.
Wetback. Huh?
I was just going to say turkey, weasel, incompetent, but wetback.
Well,
that's a racial slur.
He called me a number of names in a couple of different news articles and so forth. I mean, I have
what did he call you?
Same as he. I mean, who is the gov?
Wait a second. Wait a second. What did the gov call you?
Huh?
What did the gov? Could you take the hood off and just hold the phone up to your ear? What did the governor call you?
Well, he called me a racist for one.
What the?
and you're not a racist.
Tony.
You're not a racist, right?
Well, that's neither here nor there. He's a wetback. I mean, he's a Spaniard. I mean, or he's a Mexican. I don't know what he is. His family fights chickens. I mean, what difference does it make?
Okay, so in other words...
again, Tony, there you go, exaggerating and lying.
No.
Are your people
right
such
there, I will
nincompoops?
bet you $1,000 that you check back and his family fought chickens.
Okay, let me ask you another question. You claim to be a Bible-believing Christian?
I couldn't hear you for Bob.
Do you claim to be a Bible-believing Christian?
Yes,
And yet you bash the Jews?
Right.
Okay, now, this is my statement. It is intuitively obvious to the most casual observer that you're a hate-filled bigot to speak as you do about other people without concern for their feelings. Secondly, I don't see how any well-read or educated person could get anything but hysterically and laughably disturbed by your statements. And, Bob, I may not always agree with you, but you keep giving these idiots airtime because it's our best defense.
Yeah, but then you
People
go
with
and
the
flatter
mindset
him.
like them.
Yeah, but then you go and flatter him. I'll bet he's blushing now with all the kind things you had to say about him.
Well, he probably is. The thing that really bothers me
Well, I'm
is
used to hearing that, but, she's got her right to speak same as I. That's freedom of speech,
Kinda
but we
warm.
won't have that much longer.
Kind of warms the cockles of your heart, ain't Tony?
Great.
It amazes me how some people can only see one side.
Hey, ma'am, what have you done for your country or your people or your children or anything that's going on in this state?
I
Can I ask
served
you
in the
that?
military, and I
You
pay
haven't
my
done
taxes.
anything. All you do, ma'am, is sit there and complain like a liberal, race-trading woman you are. You
You
do
don't know
nothing for
anything
your
about me.
people. Have you told your kids you loved him today?
Yes, I have.
Well, that's unusual, but maybe you did. But other than that, you're just somebody that sits at home, and because somebody's on the radio talking about what he believes in or what he'd like to see done, you want to criticize.
Well, I have a right to criticize. I have a right.
Right, you have a right to do that at the same time, but at the same time you call me a bigot, and at the same time I call you a race traitor because you don't take up for your own people.
I believe that all people should have the right to live free and be happy in this country.
I
and that's
agree with
what
that,
I
but at
Well,
the
one
same
second.
time we have
One s-
organizations that are not doing that.
excuse
the white
me.
people in this country are being discriminated against.
excuse
That's
me.
why I'm in the Klan.
Excuse me, Tony, do you mean it's not possible to take up for your own race without knocking some others?
I am making comment that what happened with the Jews and this kosher mark, they're screwing us, Bob. I don't care what anybody says. They're screwing us with this thing.
Whoa, 1 second here. You're having sexual relations with Jews?
Come on, Bob. Give me a break for a change, okay? They are ripping off the consumers of this country with this, whatever you want to describe it as.
3:51 the time. Tony Bastanzio, my guest, who has just made a remarkable revelation about perhaps some intimate relationships with people of the Semitic persuasion. We'll check that out a little bit later on. 3:54 the time. Tony Bastanzio, Imperial Wizard on the KKK Imperial Wizard, as not to be confused with Eastern Star Imperial Wizard or something like that. Tony, gosh golly, I was just thinking, you say you're going to be protesting because the kosher label, the kosher mark, has been put on some of these products.
Right.
Well, Tony, God almighty. It just dawned on me, Tony, I guess it hasn't dawned on you, you should be grateful for that, because that way you know which products are kosher, which products are, paying the rabbi to inspect them, and you could then avoid them. Because, you see, if the Jews really wanted to extort money from you, they wouldn't put the label on so that you could, boycott their products.
Well, the whole point of it, we need to be specific so people understand. You cloud a lot of the issues. The point is,
if I were you, Tony, I would be out there protesting that the kosher mark, which is a very, very, very small mark, almost impossible to
right, and
discern.
Nobody knows what it is. In fact, most people are going, what is a kosher
I'd be
mark?
out there asking, for the kosher mark to be the size of a silver dollar.
Well, we've tried that too. The other part is that they won't tell us how much they're charging the consumer for it, nor what they're paying the rabbis to mark this, item.
Do they tell you how much they pay for, for example, if you want to talk about General Foods and Maxwell House Coffee, do they tell you how much they pay for the coffee beans?
Well, I just don't like to have to pay for.
They don't tell you how much they pay for coffee beans, do they?
No, but how do you kosher mark a coffee bean?
You don't.
Any idiot knows that a coffee bean is kosher. I mean, it's stupid.
No, it's not the coffee bean. It's the processing of turning the coffee bean into the ground coffee that, of course, would be supervised by the rabbi.
Oh, well, we need to do that.
And, of course, General Mills is under no obligation whatsoever to do so.
I think there are no obligation to take threats by the Jewish community that they'll boycott them if they don't take the mark either, but they do it anyway.
Well, now, wait a second here, Tony. It's not a matter of boycotting the product.
That's what they do. I mean, you don't even get the, Bob, you don't even read the Jewish news. You're way off base.
Tony, according to their religious law, they would be unable to consume the product if it were not inspected by the rabbi.
They will eat anything.
We've got God involved here, Tony.
What's that?
We have God involved here.
Which they don't believe in Jesus Christ. So as far as I'm concerned, no Jew is going to go to heaven because you have to go through Jesus Christ to get to God.
Tony, how many gods are there?
There's one God.
Well, then they must be dealing with the right one.
Well, but you have to go through Jesus Christ to get to God.
Well, who is Jesus Christ?
Who is Jesus Christ? The Son of God.
Well, right, and actually, you do believe in the Trinity, of course, don't you?
What's that?
The Trinity? You don't know what the Trinity
Is
is?
that Catholic or what?
God the Father, God the Son, and God the Holy Ghost?
Okay, all right, fine. Okay, I see what you're saying.
Well, then you see Jesus Christ, of course, would be one and the same with
No, but you
God
have
the
to
Father.
go through Jesus Christ in order to get to God.
Do you really...
That's why you say in Jesus Christ's name we pray.
Tony, do you really think that, Jesus would be a little bit ticked off if you prayed to his Father or paid attention to his Father?
According to the New Testament.
Jeez, what a horrible father-son relationship those two must have.
Well, that's, it's just the way that it is. I just accept it by faith, not that I can prove it. You're talking theology. We would even go crazier on this subject, but at any rate, you have to go through his Son to get to the Father.
South Side, Johnny, how south? Hi there, South Side. You're on the air with Tony Bastanzio,
Tony.
Lake County welfare recipient.
Tony, I would like to tell you, I would emphasize I've dealt with Jews, I've dealt with Orientals. They're far more bigot to the extent, and for some reason,
hey, you guys have a lot in common.
They would never want, if this guy will keep quiet,
Tony,
never want a Gentile, and it's well known, there's movies made. Orientals don't want marriage outside of their own clan,
right.
But it's only the blacks that bust their tail to marry into white so they can get away from that thick nose and lips and that steel wire hair of theirs. And I
you guys
believe
have
you
so
would
much
go
in common.
a lot farther, concentrating on the black, because they're the ones. Look at Michael Jackson. With the money, he's spending millions on a chimpanzee monkey instead of sending money over to Africa or helping. I don't hear, except they say we are the world and all that crap. I don't hear a big money of these guys that's made. These ball players, these black ball players, football players.
You and Southside Johnny have so much in common. See, Southside Johnny's a former dope dealer from Chicago.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you see, I knew we'd admit it. Tony, you'll stand by into the next hour, won't you?
Yes. You kill me, Bob, I tell you.
Perhaps you just remembered an amusing incident from your childhood or something. Maybe you'll share it with us in the next hour. Welcome back. 12 minutes after the hour, 4 o'clock. Not 11, but 12. Right here at News Radio 970 WFLA, home of the magnificent Lassiter. When last we talked with Tony Bastanzio, which was a long time ago, Imperial Wizard of the Florida KKK, as well as 7 other states, he was laughing. Tony, what was so funny?
Well, I couldn't help but with the guy. In fact, the more I think about it, the more I laugh. The guy that was trying to call in, and I was listening to your comments that you were making while he was talking.
Southside John. Oh, he's used to that. I do that all the time.
Okay, and then when you cut him off, I couldn't help but kind of felt sorry for the guy. I'm used to that, but he was.
Well, Southside used to own a bar in Chicago, and he called us one night several years ago telling us how he paid his yard man $18,000 a year, trying to tell us he was doing very well, and it turned out that he says he had some repair work done to a seawall, and it cost $18,000, and the guy that cuts his grass did it. So... Southside.
Oh, well.
We enjoy his calls nonetheless.
Well, he had, some good comments. I mean, all of us have the right to our own ideology.
Well, he doesn't have any ideology. He just kind of rambles on and on. He also talks about his wife, but she's never there. She's always, shopping someplace, and he always, he doesn't listen to the show. He's always just tuning in. Plant City, you're on the air at 970 WFLA with Tony Bastanzio.
Hi, Bob.
Hi there, Plant.
I got a couple of questions for this gentleman, and I do use that term loosely, and one for you, so don't hang up before I get to ask you something.
Oh, okay.
What'd you say your last name was, Tony?
Bastanzio.
So we could maybe call you a WAP?
You could.
Oh,
Did you see my picture on the St. Pete Times the other day with blue eyes and freckles and blonde hair? Don't always necessarily misunderstand the name, but at any rate, go ahead.
Yeah, like Jacobs.
What's your educational background?
High school education, Auburndale Senior High.
Oh, and you're the leader of this great big organization with such a limited education?
No, it's not that. Education has something to do with it. It's rather limited membership.
Oh, okay.
They never show up at his rallies.
Doesn't
that tick you off, Tony?
Is what now?
Doesn't it tick you off that all your members don't show up at your rallies?
No, there's only specific ones that we allow. There's 35 members in this state that you've seen their faces.
Good thinking, Tony.
That's just the way it is.
Well, you sound like a fairly young man. How old are you?
I'm 32. February 16th.
32? Well, it really baffles me that someone could get so ignorant in only 32 years. And I'm a good old boy from Plant City, and you're the kind of person we'd like to take hog hunting with us. Anytime you...
Well, if you'd like, I can put you on...
your rhetoric. You're a punk.
Well, 1 second. If you guys would like, I could put you on hold. You could swap phone numbers.
Well, that's no problem. I live up here in Astortool. All this punk has got to do is climb in his four-wheel drive, and maybe I'll meet him with mine up here, and then we'll rock and roll over his Budweiser.
That sounds good, but see, the only thing...
this is one of your own.
This is not one of my own. This scum race trader's probably got a black girlfriend that knows nothing about the Klan. And he wants to get on here and criticize like that other lady, and he probably quit school.
Well, Tony, for your information, I have an engineering degree.
Oh, my God. Well, listen, let me play. Can you hear me playing the violin for you?
Well, no, let me finish.
Okay.
Let me finish. I am a conservative Republican, or at least, half.
Same as I.
I'm
playing the violin now.
Are you going to shut up and let me talk, punk?
Yeah, boy, go ahead.
Boy, I got your boy over here.
Yeah, that's what your girlfriend told me. Go ahead.
Anyway,
I'm talking about mothers.
I wasn't. I've always listened to Mr. Lassiter about gun control, and like I say, I'm a good old boy. I like my old 12 gauge Browning and stuff, but I really wasn't for gun control until I heard you, Tony, and I do feel we need some kind of waiting period to keep idiots like you from having handgun, because that really scares me to death to think of someone like you being in possession of a gun.
You a Jew?
Am I a Jew? No, I'm not.
What are you? What church you go to?
What church? I'm just a good old Protestant boy.
Okay. Lost, I suppose.
Lost? No, I am a good Christian. I love the black man. I love the red man. I love all men because they're all created equal. You ever heard that?
Sure you're not a homosexual?
Do what?
Sure you're not a homosexual by the way you described that? You love all men?
Oh, no, I thought you were the one that was in prison, Tony.
I wasn't in prison.
Oh, and how many times you dropped the soap intentionally? Well, I'm finished with him, Bob.
Okay.
Listen,
maybe we'll see you in Plant City someday, boy.
Oh, I hope you do. I hope you
do. Tony.
And Tony, please, you don't have to wear your hood.
Well, I don't wear my hood when I go out into the public. I'm not ashamed of what I am.
No, just a long dress. What was the question you had for me, sir?
Yeah, Bob.
Yeah.
Listen, Ted Webb earlier says he was out of those tickets. Would you happen to have any of those tickets for that charity thing for the Humane Society?
No, I'm afraid I don't.
Oh, okay.
They don't give me tickets because I forget to give them away, and that makes everybody angry.
Oh, okay. No
Thank
problem.
you. No.
Thanks a lot.
Be good. 990-9352, line open. Off it is to Newport Richie. Could it be? Could it be? New, you're on the air at 970 WFLA.
Hello. I'm a first-time caller, and I got two questions for Tony. But first, I'd like to make an uninterrupted statement, which will be in good taste, if I might. And first, let me say, in a way, I'm really for Tony. In a way, I'm really against him. I don't mean Tony personally. I mean his feelings. The first thing I want to tell you is I think I'm not a religious person, but I think it's important. We talked about religion. I think it's real important that we do make an effort to try to love everybody, okay? And I'm not a flaming liberal. I'm more conservative. But I do think everybody has to keep their mind open to new ideas because there might be a good one out there, like a new type of a firearm, etc. Okay, I want to say that I think the method that people with this ideology have is a rather crude method. I think what we need to do is look on any brothers and sisters or whatever you want to call them, we all are, in disappointment when we find them treating us wrong. Okay, now let me tell you, Tony, I want you to think about this tonight. I'm a little older than you, and I'm a pretty smart guy. I just want to tell you this. I've known a lot of Jewish people in my day, and I'm not prejudiced, but I can say this almost completely honestly. Every Jewish person I've known has been a disappointment. So I agree with you.
Sir?
But not all of them are that way.
No, just the ones that I have met. I'm sure there's many more I'm going to meet that I will be very pleased with.
Sir!
Yes, sir.
I opened the paper this morning, and there were probably 40 or 50 crimes reported in that paper. And do you realize that the majority of them were committed by as a matter of fact, virtually all of them were committed by non-Jewish people.
I know that.
So therefore, I have to assume, sir, from what I saw in the paper and from the very crafty innuendo that you were starting to weave there, that all non-Jewish people are violent.
I'm being completely sincere, and let me tell you this,
sir. I'm going to be completely sincere with you. I don't want you on my radio show. Well. A man who has absolutely
one on his radio
nothing whatsoever to do with sheets of any kind.
Oh, sorry, Bob. Hold on just a second while I swallow some of all this gigantic 2-pound, 3-foot-tall bag of corns of poppin' popcorn here.
What do you mean?
Well, I guess that, some of my many fans must have been listening the other day when you were hogging down mercilessly the popcorn in front of me without even offering me any or saving me any.
Yeah.
Got to the air center today.
Yeah.
Big old bag of popcorn from Corns of Poppin' of Tampa. Huh? I can barely even get in the plane. This bag is so big. From Tim. Gary, we feel sorry for you, so here's your own bag of popcorn from Tim at Corns of Poppin'.
Were there any foxes there waiting for you?
He gave a bag to the foxes at the air center too.
Were there any foxes waiting for you at the airport?
Well, just the ones that work there. They're always waiting for me.
But I meant waiting for you, in a kind of way. You know what I mean.
Better get right to the traffic, Bob.
Yeah, I think we better. Here's another unsponsored Gary McHenry Airborne WFLA dangerous traffic report right now. Did you realize that the smoking habits of employees cost industry some $12.8 billion a year due to 50% higher absenteeism rates, hospitalization, life insurance premiums, fire, inefficiency and error, and time away from the job? Did you know that? Probably not. Do you really care? Well, probably not, unless it's on a relatively personal basis. I'm sure the people that you work with, the people that work for you, are important, right? They're not just some meaningless statistic, and yet they all somehow fall into this category. Wouldn't it be nice? Wouldn't it be a decent thing to do to bring in a smoking cessation course for your employees? Reducing insurance premiums, decreasing absenteeism, enhancing productivity, improving morale, and doing the right and proper thing for those people who want to quit smoking but need a little bit of help. Sure, I'm talking about Dr. Robert Sobel, the Stop Smoking Center, the course called Quit for Life, 2 1-hour sessions a week apart. What do you think? 787-5530, 787-5530. You can put it off, but the longer you do, the longer all of these problems continue to exist, and who knows? You just never know which one of those cigarettes it is. Puts that little spot on your lung. St. Petersburg, hi, you're on the air with Tony Bastanzio.
Well, good afternoon to you both.
Good afternoon.
And I had a couple of comments to the both of you. Geez, Bob, one thing is I'm wondering if you're being a little discriminatory because you keep hanging up on people who call in to kind of support Tony.
No, I don't, my dear. I have time limitations. As a matter of fact, the way I get my ratings is by putting people like Tony and people who support Tony on the air.
Okay, well, anyway, I wanted to tell Tony I hope he keeps up the good work and that he continues his beliefs and what he's trying to get across to other members of the community. Are
you going to be out there at that rally in Perry?
I'd love to go.
Well, I didn't ask you if you'd like to go. I asked you, are you going to be there?
Actually, I don't think that's your concern.
Well, it's my concern very much. I beg your pardon. It is my concern.
Are you going?
Hell no.
Well, good. We won't miss you. But also to point out...
Why is it that you hate the Jews, by the way?
The people who are members of this are not just all redneck pickup truck drivers and stuff. They have master's degrees and actually PhDs.
Whoa! That means you're smart?
They may not be out parading in plain view on the street.
Yeah, because they're cowards.
We're out there and we're sitting back.
Sure, right. You're a blowhard that sits home and, spouts off, I hate Jews, I hate niggers, but you don't even have the guts to go out and confront a Jew or a black person to their face, do you?
I do it every day.
Yeah, right. I know you do it every day, Tony, right.
Yes, and, you keep also interrupting Tony. He's being very patient, and, sometimes...
Hey, look, lady, he's getting free publicity,
Well, that's fun.
This is my show. I'll conduct it any damn way I want to conduct it. And if you don't like it, hey.
I didn't say I didn't like it.
Of course not. It's good.
I was questioning what you did.
Yeah.
I'm surprised you haven't hung up on me, but I thank you for the time, and Tony...
Let's go to Palm Harbor. Palm, you're on the air at 970 WFLA.
Yeah, I'd like to ask Tony if he talks about church and all that. Is he supposed to be a Christian or what?
Well, you'd have to be, sir, if you know anything about the KKK. Correct, Tony?
Yes, sir.
Well, I don't understand why, the Bible says to love everybody, right?
Well, to love, it's not that I don't love everybody. My concern...
That don't mean you got to kiss everybody like you talk about the other guy that called,
Right. That's what I mean.
I mean, to treat everybody like a white man, even if they aren't.
Okay, that's fine. I can handle that.
You're going to treat everybody like a white man, even if they're not?
Sure, I can handle that.
Jeez, I mean, like...
But it won't happen.
It won't happen?
It just won't happen.
Oh.
It was
Tony, I have bad luck with New Yorkers and Italians. Everybody I run into seems to be like a slime ball. Like you're talking about Jews and blacks. I have bad luck with them, too.
I bet you have bad luck with a lot of people.
You got it.
Yeah.
You sound like you're Indian.
Indian?
Yeah, you from India?
God, you have
such
a sharp ear, Tony, for accents.
From Manhattan, all right?
Okay, well, I can hardly hear. I can't hear this guy real good, Bob.
Anyway, Tony, there's a show on, all right?
Okay.
A radio show you ought to listen to. It's on 4 o'clock, 11:10 a.m., all right? You listen to that, and you get some insight on the real world, all right?
Well, I'd probably be happier riding my horse, but anyway.
Well, give it a shot. I'll sketch you later.
You see, Tony, that's one of my regular listeners. He's referring to some lunatic religious show on another very small...
Yeah, I noticed you laughing that time. What do they do on that show?
What do they do on that show? Beg and plead for money. Just like they do on all the religious shows. I got to ask you to hold on if you would, Tony. Standing by, Don Richards with a WFLA News Brief. Thank you ever so much, Don. If you'll please stand by with me, Tony. I have at least another 3 minutes before I have to go to another break. Brandon, you're on the air at 970 WFLA.
Yes, I'm first-time caller, long-time listener. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Both of us are.
Okay. I'm here to kind of blow the mind of Tony. Is he on the phone there, too?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Well, and also that man that called from, I believe, Plant City that said that Jews only married Jews. I'm a Christian lady married to a Jewish man. My Jewish man happens to be a blonde-haired, blue-eyed, freckle-faced man. You would never know he was Jewish except that by living with him, he lives to the Jewish law. And you offend me, Tony. You offend me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a scholar of the Talmud, but I don't believe you are either, and I resent your misquotations about the Jewish people being anti-Christian.
You leave your address at the radio station. I'll send you a copy in English where you can understand it.
Oh, I would like it very much. I knew.
Is that possible, Bob?
I have some transliterations, too.
Okay.
The people, I'm also a member of Hadassah and B'nai B'rith, and also a member of the Anti-Defamation League.
Oh, Jesus.
Aren't you glad to talk to me?
Yeah, well, it's okay. I mean, you've got a right to speak. I mean, everybody has the right to speak. I just don't agree.
Well, and I don't agree with you, and I will go along with that. I want you to know that the people that I know, all the Jewish people that I do affiliate with, I don't know any of them that are especially rich or devious or out to destroy the Constitution of the United States or the state.
Possible.
All right. That's all I have to say.
Okay, we'll put her on hold to get that telephone number. That's great. Let's see. Which one do you want me to go next, Michael? Oh, okay. St. Petersburg Beach. Saints, you're on the air at 970 WFLA.
Hey, Tony. Tony? Tony?
Did I accidentally take... Oh, there we go.
Okay, now I am. Go ahead.
Yes, Tony.
Yeah.
Let me ask you something. I'm from the true South. You're from the Jew South. You know what the main objectives of the Ku Klux Klan are?
Go ahead.
They're against integration, right?
True.
Against communism, right?
True.
Against Catholicism, right?
True.
So what are you? You're an Italian. What are you? What are you, a Presbyterian?
I'm
you raised as a
Presbyterian.
Baptist?
I'm Presbyterian.
Oh, you're Presbyterian. Where'd your daddy come from? New York?
No.
Huh?
No,
Where'd
he
he
came
come from?
North Carolina.
He came from where?
North Carolina.
Came from North Carolina. Well, you know, I'm from the Carolinas myself. I never met no Bastianos up there.
You don't
We don't
think
name
so?
people Tony and Guido and Mario up in the Carolinas, Bubba. And there ain't no Italians up there hardly at all.
Well, my daddy fought with the 37th Infantry there. My great-granddaddy did, and my other great-granddaddy from my mother's side fought in Mississippi.
Oh, yeah, I'll bet there were plenty of Italians in the Confederate Army. They weren't even over here yet. My family's been over here since 1643 in the South since
Well,
then.
my family's been here from 1795. What does that have to
I
do
don't
with
believe
doing
it has
anything for
everything
white
to do
people?
with it. You're not
Well,
even
you're
a true
not
white
you're not
person.
doing anything but making an argument. What are you doing for white people, boy?
You're non-Anglo-Saxon.
It doesn't matter.
You're not even a true white person. You're the same thing as a Jew. Jews and Italians are all the
Well,
same thing.
fine. Well, fine then. When you can do something for our white people, then you do it, okay?
I do for it. I'm all white.
He's done a great deal for the white movement already just by calling this show this afternoon.
Well,
Tony,
I'm telling you, we
again,
can
I
give
would
him a
ask you to
milkshake.
stand by. I hope you have a chair there. Gary McHenry, this time with a dangerous airborne traffic report.
That's right.
Sponsored by the Outback Steakhouse, right here at 970 WFLA.
Oh, hi. Thanks, Bob.
4:44 the time. Welcome back, Tampa. You're on the air with Tony Bastanzio.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, Bob. I'd like to respond to that last caller's what he said about Tony being Italian.
Mm-hmm.
What I wanted to say was a long time ago, Italians were discriminated against too. And
Well, I'm not really, don't go too far with it. I mean, that's one of the worst problems the right wing has is fighting amongst ourselves, but he has a right to his opinion.
Right, but don't you feel that
What makes you think he's a member of the right wing, Tony?
Huh?
What made you think he was a member of the right wing?
I just have a feeling I know who he was with and what group he's with, but that doesn't matter.
what group do you think he was with?
Well, I wouldn't say anyway.
But aren't the Klan? You're with the Klan, right?
Right.
Well, wait a second. I thought you were a gutsy guy, Tony. Why wouldn't you say
Well,
what group
it's
he
not
was with?
important, the issue that, that I have a feeling of who he's with. I mean,
you've made an accusation.
The right wing or
But
white
Tony, you've made an accusation. I mean, people are sitting there saying, geez, is he a member of the Communist Party? Is he the Gay Alliance, the Nazis?
No, I just believe he's with another right-wing group, and they're pretty hardcore
Regardless
about
of who he's with, he did bring up a good point. You're not pure white.
That's true.
That's
if you
true.
call Italians non-whites.
Huh?
If you refer to Italians as being non-white.
Well, they're not. That's why a lot of
What
them,
are they?
They're mixed.
No, they're a son of Japheth, the same as Aryans.
They're dark. They're very dark, and some of them are very, very dark.
Well, maybe some of them are very, very dark, but I'm also Sicilian. And my granddaddy rode in a Panzer in the German army. My Italian ancestry comes out of Sicily
But that's
from way
neither.
back.
Are you
that,
rather
that doesn't
proud
matter
of-
because I feel I love Italian people. It doesn't matter.
Excuse me, are you rather proud that your father fought grandfather that was fought under Hitler?
Well, he had to. He
But
didn't
the
have
point I
much
was trying to
choice.
make, Tony, is that you could
Guy
be
in China,
you could be discriminated against just like all these other people you're trying to discriminate against.
Well, I don't discriminate against. I am trying to work in a political way if we get to the point here.
What do you feel? Why do you feel white people are in jeopardy?
I know that white people are in jeopardy.
In what way?
We're number one. We're becoming a minority in our own country.
In what way?
Numbers, babies,
Babies?
economically.
And another thing I wanted to say about that call was who said that black people like to integrate with white people because they want to change.
Well, that's in the Bible, ma'am.
They want to change the way
What's
they
in the
look.
Bible,
Number
Tony?
one, it takes two.
One
now
second,
that
please.
white person.
1 second, please. What's in the Bible, Tony?
Number one, that black men crave light-skinned women.
What about white men?
Where in the Bible is that, Tony?
I can't point out.
What about
maybe
white
somebody
men?
in this theology can, but I've been told it's ever. I should know
You've
that
been
before I
told.
make a comment.
You haven't actually seen it then.
What about white men who crave black women? And what about white women who
Well,
crave
they're
black?
sick. They're number one. They're sick. They're race traitors, and it's not godly to do that.
What about white women who like black men?
They're sluts.
They're sluts. What about love? Couldn't it be possible that they really
Love,
love each other?
that's where integration comes in. Number one, if you're not around somebody that drinks all the time, you're not going to drink. If you're not around blacks all the time, you're not going to race mix.
Well, that's not
That's the
true
whole
because
point.
I know a lot of people who are not around a lot of blacks.
Tony, are you troubled with a lot of black women chasing after you, trying, to get you into bed?
Well, I don't know of any black women that are trying to chase me around, to be
Well,
honest.
then why are you so afraid about, all this race mix and stuff?
Well, I just don't believe in it. It's not.
Well, if you don't have any problem with it, Tony.
It's not good for the whites to race.
Well, Tony, if you don't have any problem with it, if there aren't any black people trying to mix with you, you certainly
Do you
would.
have any problems with, like, Spanish people mixing with white people?
Well, certainly I do.
Why?
Because your cultures are destroyed. I mean, look at the Mexicans, for example. They like to ride around with jacked up cars in the rear end painted green.
Not all of them.
Well, a lot of them. Well, that's just
some of them
they
paint
like
them
the
orange.
bandanas. They like this.
What about white people who are into heavy metal music and punk rockers and all that?
I'm heavy metal.
What about that? That is very destructive.
Not destructive.
Yes,
I
you
like.
people are devil worshippers.
I listen to Kiss. I listen to Ozzy Osbourne, White Snake. I'm a rock and roller.
A lot of those people are devil worshippers.
Well, maybe they are, but I don't take it that way.
Well, see, you're
I
generalizing.
play drums myself, so I mean,
Don't you feel that a lot
Wait
of
a
people
second. I thought you had a
feel
bad back, Tony.
Do what?
Wait a second. I thought you had a bad back.
That doesn't have anything to do with playing drums.
Doesn't have anything with holding your hands up and, beating
Well, I
on
don't have a
things.
trap set right now. I mean, I play drums all
I mean,
the
my
time.
God, I would think if you can play the drums, why can't you go out and get a job as a drummer instead of being, a welfare
Well,
deadbeat?
you talk to the people.
You're on welfare, Tony?
Yeah,
You're
yes.
on welfare?
Yeah.
No, I'm on Social Security.
How come?
At 32, that's welfare.
The back.
Because what?
Because of the back and also agoraphobia.
Oh.
Which you don't know either one of those are. But talk to the people that are on.
What do you mean what I don't know? What are you talking about? I don't know.
You don't know what agoraphobia is anyway.
How do you know?
Okay, do you? Tell me.
It's not important. The point is, you're obviously very ignorant because Italian people are mixed with African. They are. That's why they are.
Okay. Well, I got a little nigger in me then. That's what you're saying.
No, you have a little African in you.
Oh, African. Okay.
Well, on that point, I'm going to have to break in here. Let me do that there and ask you, Tony, to stand by. Back we are. Tampa, you're on the air at 970 WFLA with Tony Bastanzio, our favorite Imperial Wizard.
Hello. I just want to let him know I'm a black grandmother, and I came from a small town where the Ku Klux Klan, white men, was real dirty. They would take the maid to work, rape her, have children from her, and had a wife. And I don't know how he can talk about the black man, because the Ku Klux Klan is the dirtiest outfit in the world. Did he know that? I think he's too young. I can tell about the Ku Klux Klan. They are dirty. And I mean, they are low down the dirty. That's all they did was rape.
Not just dirty, but low down dirty.
How do you think we have black women? Why do you think it's black women? We from Africa. We supposed to be black. Time we got over here, that's all white man did was jump on the black women and rape them.
Well, I agree.
But why do you talk about the black? Why do you talk about blacks? You're too young to talk about blacks.
No, ma'am, I've read enough in history. In fact, I got my almanac out here right now.
The almanac don't mean nothing. The truth what gets you. I'm telling you about the truth.
Well, maybe under some circumstances that did happen, and that was wrong.
Okay, then when it's wrong, what you talking about?
What am I talking about?
Yeah, what you talking about? What can you make out of this? That is there, and you can't help it. And the black man, the Ku Klux Klan, you know what the Ku Klux Klan was about? To keep the black man from the white woman. But now they got him now, and you just really shut up.
We haven't even gone on this show about what the Klan's all about. We haven't even talked about it.
I'm telling you. And you don't know because you're too young, and you need to shut up your mouth and go home.
Well, when you repeat something 4 times, you know what happens. Countryside, you're on the air at 970 WFLA.
Hi, Bob.
Hi.
I have a couple of questions for Tony.
Okay, shoot.
Tony, I believe you said that you are a believer of the Bible.
Yes, ma'am.
How far do you think that God would have you personally, go to keep America pure? Would it be deportation, concentration camps?
No, I don't look at it that way. I look at all cultures certainly have the right under our Constitution to live, grow, and be happy.
I mean, come on, you're just trying to turn a couple of bucks with this thing, right, Tony?
Money?
Yeah.
I don't get any money. I wouldn't take money. Where your faith and how you feel comes from your heart, not necessarily your mouth.
Bob, I wanted to ask him if I wanted to join, how much it would cost me to join.
It's free.
It's free? No dues of any kind?
Well, there are dues, but you'd have to talk to my secretary about that. I don't handle the funds.
Oh, come on. Tony, you know what the dues are?
What are they?
I'm asking you. You got to know. I mean, do you mean to tell me they don't tell the Imperial Wizard?
Business. I mean, are you over 18 years old?
Yes, I am.
Okay, and you're white?
Yes.
Okay. Then two men would come and speak with you and talk with you, and they'd go over that situation with you, and then we'd decide whether or not you were,
worthy?
Yeah, there you go.
I see. Well, there's one other question then. My grandfather was a half-breed Indian. Would that disqualify me?
Not necessarily.
What do you mean, not necessarily?
Well, not necessarily. It's hard to say. You'd have to be the cloak hand.
We're going to have to leave it on not necessarily. I'm fresh out of time for this hour. Tony, will you stay into the third hour?
Oh, yeah, sure, Bob, yeah.
Oh, okay,
Thank
great.
you.
Almost as enthusiastic as Gary McHenry. Amazing. 11 and a half minutes after the hour, 5 o'clock. Welcome back. Third, final hour for a Thursday afternoon. June the 8th, 1989. Standing by with me, I hope, Tony Bastanzio. Tony, are you there?
Sitting here drinking some kosher coffee, thank you.
Okay, are you still the Imperial Wizard? I mean, it's been quite some time since we last spoke.
Yes, still.
Okay, just wanted to double check.
What do you do during the breaks, by the way?
What do I do during the breaks?
Yeah.
I basically get up and go into the program director's office and scream and holler, and sometimes I go down to the bathroom, sometimes just sit there and drink a Coke.
That's what I was wondering. A lot of listeners probably wonder, too.
Well, I doubt it very much. 990-9352 in Hillsborough, 461-9352 in Pinellas. If you want to talk to our very own beloved Imperial, it would be proper, I guess, to call you our Imperial Wizard. Are there any other Imperial Wizards in Florida?
No, but there's 3 active Klan organizations in this state, according to Klan Watch out of Montgomery, Alabama. Fraternal White Knights.
Wait a second. You check with Klan Watch to find out if you got any other bedfellows?
Oh, well, I know the folks, but I mean, I'm just saying that so you'll know that it's true.
Oh, okay.
But at any rate, the Fraternal White Knights, which is out of Lantana, the Invisible Empire, which is out of Orlando, and then the KKK 87, which is out of Astatoula.
Okay, but you're the only Imperial Wizard.
For this, for my faction of the Klan. So that guy that thought I had some of that Italian blood, too much Italian blood in me, he can join with the Invisible Empire and work for the interests of white people. Doesn't matter to me.
Oh, okay. Well, I'd say, Seminole, you're on the air at 970 WFLA.
Hi, Bob.
Hi, Sam.
Hello, Tony.
Hello.
I wanted to ask you a couple of questions. I assume that you're intelligent enough that you are following the China crisis?
Yes, sir. Yes.
I would like to know what bothers you more, the fact that over 3,000 Chinese students have been killed, or the fact that an American citizen here or there have been beaten or possibly killed. Do you have something that bothers you more out of those?
That's hard to... I don't necessarily agree with what the Army's doing, but then on the other hand, if you were part of the government yourself, in order to make sure order under the communist regime, how do you say that? Okay, maybe that's a good enough.
Yeah, it's close enough.
The Army is necessary to take control back of the country. But I believe in democracy. I hope they can get it, but it's going to cost them.
Yeah. I heard you stating...
Do you believe that black people...
listen to heavy metal...
Excuse me one sec. Caller, one sec. Something I'd like to follow up with. You believe that black people should have the vote here, then, right?
In a democratic society? Well, our Constitution, to begin with, was just basically for white people.
No, that was the Declaration of Independence that you're really thinking of.
Well, still, at any rate, the Constitution has been added to as we've gone along in history, which is not right. That means the Constitution
it was the guys that wrote the Constitution that first started adding to it.
No. After the 13th, it was after the war they started adding to it.
The Bill of Rights, the first 10 amendments to the Constitution.
When were the first 10 amendments written?
Actually...
I've got my almanac in front of me, but I'm not going to look it up real quick. But...
Well, actually, they were put together at the time that they wrote the Constitution.
Okay, that's the original prescript.
But they thought that, we'd probably have an easier time getting this through, so they kind of held back on the Bill of Rights until after the Constitution was...
Not so much for the history course, but at any rate.
Did I hear you stating earlier you were a KISS fan?
A KISS? Yes, Are
you aware that 2 of the members of KISS have gone with black ladies in the past?
Well, I still like their music.
Oh, I see.
I mean, it's not the same as jigaboo music. You know, I don't go for that rap garbage.
Yeah, I'm a metal fan, too. I've been a metal fan for 14 years. Name them, I like them. And it really kind of irks me to know that you listen to it, too. Had I known punks like you were listening to it, I'd be listening to opera.
Well, maybe you ought to come look at my system, then you maybe wouldn't think that way.
Yeah,
I got that while I was doing lawn maintenance.
Oh.
Not while I was on welfare. Because on welfare, you can't afford all that stuff. The only thing you can afford to get your lotto tickets each week.
Well, you would obviously know.
Of course, you could have sold the system to keep from going on welfare so soon.
Oh, certainly. Yeah, I could have done that.
Well, thanks, Bob. I'm sorry you have to fill the airwaves with people like him, but you still got a great show.
Thank you very much. Tampa, you're on the air at 970 WFLA. News
Good day,
radio
Bob.
at that.
How you doing?
Oh, great.
I got a question for Mr. Bastanzio.
Go ahead.
Okay, Tony?
Yes, sir.
Did I hear correctly before that you were planning to, your organization was planning to sponsor or attend a flag raising for the rebel flag?
Confederate battle flag.
Okay. Thought you said you love the Constitution.
I do.
Then how can you pay homage to a symbol of the Articles of Confederation and tell me that you love the Constitution and expect me to believe that you're not full of crap?
Well, I still believe in the laws of this land. Right now, the Union rules, right? So the Constitution is instated. I have to go by it. That's why
I thought you said, wait, do you have to go by it or do you love it?
Do I love the Constitution?
Yes.
I love the Confederate States of America.
Then you don't love the Constitution.
I go by it because I'm a law-abiding citizen.
So in other words, just
breaking the laws,
you just
don't
capitulate.
see me in jail.
You just capitulate. You have no particular personal love.
But you lied to me before when you said you love the Constitution, which you said about 5 minutes ago.
I abide by the Constitution of this country.
But you'd rather have
agree
it back...
with everything that's in the Constitution wholeheartedly.
But you believe in it wholeheartedly, but you'd rather have us under the Articles of Confederation?
I would rather have the Confederate States of America running this nation.
Under the Articles of Confederation. Have you ever read them?
Yeah, I have a copy of them in my office.
And you'd rather have us go by that?
Mm-hmm.
And you call yourself an American? I can't believe it.
Well, those were the only Americans that were ever in this country was the Confederate States of America.
Oh, okay.
They believe in states' rights and the government not telling you which way to look and how high to jump.
Well, I guess that all kind of depends on what color you wear.
Yeah, the Confederate States of America,
a lot of people,
even today, let's just say that slavery was still going on in today's world. Let's just take an example. Today's slavery was in.
A lot of people who lived under the Confederate flag were told how high to jump.
Well, it's the same thing as today, so what difference does it make?
No, it's kind of tough to be beaten today or sold. Or
they tell you how high to jump where you work at, Bob, or go find you another job. It's just the way that it is.
No, they don't really tell me how high to jump.
Oh, you know they do. Everybody tells you, and this man
asked me to skip once or twice down the hall, but
jump, and he has to jump.
No, they've asked me to skip once or twice, but nobody's really asked me to jump.
You know, but I'm just saying. But I know what he's trying to get at. I believe in the United States Constitution for what it is originally, but it was not until after the war that it started getting manipulated into a piece of paper rather than something that I can truly believe in. It's been added.
You're referring, of course, to the amendments to the Constitution.
Right.
The amendments to the Constitutions that were approved by your representatives in Washington, and then also, and then approved by the state legislators.
It should be approved by the people, not by an individual or the Congress. I do not believe in a Congress because I tell you, Congress they're human beings. They can be manipulated.
Well, sorry, sir, but the Constitution was written between the states and the federal government, not between the states.
Well, that's what the difference between the Confederate States of America, Bob. The people wrote it rather than a Congress.
Well, let me ask you to hold by there, if I may. Tony Bastanzio, Imperial Wizard, is standing by there on the phone, and Gary McHenry, an Imperial weather forecast. No, he does traffic. Traffic at the radio station is what Gary does, is standing by.
The Imperial Buzzard.
Imperial Buzzard. Yeah, that's a great way of thinking of it, Garrow, baby.
Yeah,
I like that.
I just sit around and wait for things that become helpless. Yeah.
Right, you and the foxes and the buzzards and the foxes all do about the same with one another. Yeah,
we're all family.
Yeah. Any sponsorship this hour?
Are you asking me, or did you remember your glasses today?
Yeah, I did remember my glasses. Do you know my glasses were sitting on the front seat of my car? I felt like such a jerk.
Oh, what a jerk.
Oh, I really felt like a jerk.
Well, while you're looking up the sponsor, I'll just have some more cornza poppin' from Tim. Tim Curtin, the president of Corns of Poppin' in Tampa here, that he dropped off at the Air Center for me.
Our very own hooded traffic reporter, Gary McHenry, with an airborne WFLA News Radio 970 WFLA at that.
News Radio.
Airborne traffic report.
And
I have no idea who it was. I can't begin to imagine why anybody would do it. But somewhere along the line, someone looked at some onions and said, "Boy, let's make soup out of these." I'm so grateful that they did. I am so very, very grateful. French onion soup is one of my favorite things in life. I'm also very grateful that the people at Calb's Cove caught on to French onion soup. They do it as well as anybody, probably better than most, possibly as good as the best. I don't know why somebody thought of putting croutons in French onion soup, but I'm glad that they did. I don't know why somebody thought of putting cheese on top of it, but oh, am I glad that they did. And I'm really glad that the people at Calb's Cove caught on to French onion soup, too. It's a perfect complement to things like, baked almond brie and Caesar salad and the flambe desserts and virtually any type of entree that your little heart might desire, all put together at Calb's Cove in a very, very, very nice way. Deliciously. And then it's all presented in a very, very nice way, professionally. And yet you're never, ever, ever going to feel out of place at Calb's Cove. No one is going to look down their nose at you. No one is going to make you feel inferior. Not at Calb's Cove. They love good food. They love good people. They'll love you, too. 13155 Gulf Boulevard in Madeira Beach. The telephone number 393-3448, 393-3448. Calb's Cove, you can do no better. Back it is with, first of all, our very own Imperial Wizard and a call from Clearwater. Hi, Clear. You're on the air at 970 WFLA.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello, Bob.
Yeah.
Yes, this is...
Don't have to tell us who you are.
I'm not going to. I'm just going to say that I'm the camp commander of the Stonewall Jackson Camp of Sons of Confederate Veterans in St. Petersburg.
Okay.
And something brought my attention about an hour and a half ago when the man that is the Grand Imperial Wizard made a statement about Sarasota or Bradenton and brought our name into it. And what I wanted to say was I wish that the Klan would leave the Confederate battle flag alone. I'm sure also that many Christians would like to see the Christian flag not be carried by the Klan as well as the United States flag.
Well, I'm sure the sheet manufacturers also would bow out Southern here and there.
That's right. And, it's we get a bad enough rap as it is without adding insult to injury. And my grandfather fought on the Confederate side in North Carolina, and I'm proud of that fact. But the two organizations are entirely the difference between North and South. There is no similarity whatsoever.
Tony, do you have any problem with what this man has said so far?
Many things.
With the Sons of the Confederate, veterans. I mean, as far as that goes, it's a good organization. It's not an activist type organization. They're in the historical facts. Both sides of my family fought with the Confederacy, but I hope they aren't as spineless as this individual is to let the NAACP stop them from flying the flag at the Manatee County Courthouse.
Well, let me explain to your guest there that this man is not spineless, but we believe in going about it through legal process. We have got suits filed in 4 different southern states right now because the NAACP has challenged the right of Georgia and several other states to fly the flag over the Capitol along with the American flag and so forth. And we believe in doing it by legal means instead of forceful means and et cetera.
I resent you saying that the Klan is orchestrating or condoning violence in order to get its ways. The Ku Klux Klan 87 has never been in jail, nor have I, sir, so I would respectfully hope that you would keep those accusations clear. I am not a member of the SCV, and I apologize if I made a bad comment about your organization. If you are truly trying to make sure the Confederate battle flag is to be flown within the Confederate States of America. Okay,
evidently you are not aware then what St. Petersburg chapter, the Sarasota chapter are doing as far as the
sir, they're
flying
not
the flag
printing
over the courthouse.
They're not printing you or following you. I don't know. All I know is the NAACP run you out of town.
No, they didn't. No way.
Okay,
No
well, people
way.
know that you and the Klan are not affiliated with
Well,
each
I'll
other.
say that Sarasota chapter, the NAACP, is a very, very apparently strong chapter.
They are. No question about it.
Well, as I said, there's nothing we would like more to do than distance ourselves from the Klan. This gentleman evidently does not know the history of the Klan. And I would like to tell the public at this time
No,
that
sir, you are
the
showing
man
your ignorance that you do not
Can I
know
finish,
anything
please?
about the Klan,
Can I
sir.
finish, please? The general that established the Ku Klux Klan during the days of Reconstruction in 1867 disbanded the Klan.
1866, May
Can I
6th.
finish?
May 6th, 1866, sir.
He disbanded the group in 1867 because there was
1871.
no...
You don't even have your dates right.
1867.
1871.
He disbanded the Klan because it was no longer necessary. This group has absolutely nothing to do, or does not have even the same ideas that Nathan Bedford Forrest, when he established the Klan originally.
Well, at that point, I've got to break in and say, well, you've had your say. I certainly... Tony, would you stand by again while we check in with Don Richards?
Imperial Buzzard?
No, I'm
sorry.
The guy in the traffic plane's the Imperial Buzzard.
Okay.
We kind of think of Richards as the Imperial Buddha.
970 WFLA News at 5:30, brought to you by Cash and Carry.
Lakewood and they'll smell that way at the beach. Lakewood and with sand in their shorts.
Reeking of popcorn.
You ever get popcorn in your shorts? Lakewood and Windhorst in Brandon, accident at that spot, and southbound 275.
No, did you ever get anything in yours?
Southbound 275 south of West Shore, minor accident off to the side for that far right lane. As usual, extra heavy. I'm Gary McHenry. We'll be
Certainly
back
not
to
extra
heavy Bob in a second. 970 WFLA Airborne Traffic.
Hi, this is Bud Barnett for Performance Ford, and I'm back to stay. While I was away, I had occasion to talk with some folks about how other car dealerships do business. Well, not surprising. Most of their answers were related to how they were treated when they were shopping. Steve, the owner here at Performance, says customers don't want 5 salespeople talking their ear off. Now, the Florentines from St. Pete came in the other day. They bought a new Performance Ford for just $53.99, and they said, you know, Bud, Performance has over 1,500 cars and trucks in stock. The other dealers we shopped had 400 cars and 1,500 salesmen. Now, there's extra cars and trucks arriving here daily, and you won't see 1,500 salespeople or need earplugs if you want to check them out. What's more, Steve has extended all the sale prices because of our large inventory. We're Performance Ford on East Hillsboro, across from the East Lake Square Mall. Stop in or wave if you're passing. I'd be pleased.
News Radio 970 WFLA.
Who, pray tell, could use the services of a mortgage broker? Well, literally anybody that's looking for a mortgage. Doesn't make any difference if your credit is good, sterling, bad, so-so, bankrupt. Because a mortgage broker is an individual that goes out and finds the best possible deal for you. So, if you've got phenomenal credit, you don't have to go down to, just any old place and dicker with them, take whatever their rate is this week. You might be able to do a hell of a lot better through a mortgage broker. Your credit is not so good and the people down the corner just don't even want to talk to you. A mortgage broker can almost surely help you. A home is a dream. A home is what it's all about. To own your own home. Hey, it doesn't make any difference what kind of problems you've had in the past. Get in touch with the people at Town & Country Mortgage and Investment Corporation. If it is humanly possible to help you, they will do it. Town & Country Mortgage and Investment Corporation. Let me give you the telephone number, please. 264-2648. They're located at 14502 North Jail Mabry. That's 264-2648. Town & Country Mortgage and Investment Corporation, obviously a licensed mortgage broker. Tony, are you still there?
Yes, I am.
Are you still the Imperial Wizard?
Yes, for the moment anyway.
We
have elections in about a year or two, so, we'll see what happens.
Okay. Palm Harbor. Palm, you're on the air at 970 WFLA.
Good afternoon, Bob.
Afternoon.
Good afternoon, Tony.
Good afternoon.
I got a question for you, Tony. Do you deny being of Italian ancestry?
No.
Okay, well, can you explain to me then what the
What,
difference
do you think Bastanzio was Swedish?
Pardon me?
Did you think that Bastanzio was Swedish?
Well, what my question is, Mary, you can maybe explain to me, what is the difference of somebody of having family or coming from Italy or coming from Africa? What is the difference?
Well, basically, to be in the Klan, you had to be of non-Jewish descent and also, of non-Negroid descent.
Why non-Negroid descent?
Why?
Yes. What's the difference if you're from, let's say, Sicily or Calabria or wherever in Italy? I'm using that because I am Italian.
You mean,
also.
Tony, you could be a chink and be in the Klan?
No. What I'm saying is you have to be white. There's no question, Bob, you and I and this man on the phone are white.
Now, wait a minute.
You're still white, right?
The term white, I don't quite understand that. I'm really not white per se. I mean, we're from Italy, and we are not white as you claim to be with freckles. I mean, I don't have no freckles. They slide off of me.
Well, see, I don't have, my Italian ancestry is only about 10% to begin with, if that.
I'm 100%.
Well, I've got you're still white.
Yeah.
Even though you're an Italian, back in some of the days, this one guy was quoting about how our Klan is not the same as Nathan Bedford Forrest.
Tony, have you seen?
Well, in some senses, it's not.
Tony?
Huh?
Have you seen some of those Italian people? I mean, they're greasy.
Yeah, very dark.
Some of them have hooked noses.
Well, I'm sure that the Croquet chief would probably,
Tony,
worry about if you were real dark, whether or not you were, basically eligible to be in.
Well, real dark.
Tony, a reasonable white man might mistake an Italian for a Jew.
That's possible.
Maybe. That would be up to the Clocan chief. See, as Imperial Wizard, I have to see that the organization is, there's always a head to everything. And that's what I am. I have a board that decides whether or not you become a member or not that talks to you. It's called a Clocan chief that actually is the head of that board that you have to go in front of. Just like that gal that called in and said, well, I've got some ancestry that's Indian. Well, she would have to tell that to the Clocan chief, and he would have to make a decision.
Indian from India?
No, I think she meant redskin. I don't know.
Redskin.
Alaskan Indian. At least that's where they say they come from. I don't know. It would just depend. Of non-Jewish descent.
But
how about Catholics these days? Are Catholics, thumbs up, thumbs down?
There's some Catholics that are in the Klan, but they believe in God and in Christ, and they don't believe the Pope as being, a God.
Well, then they're not Catholics.
Not necessarily, because a real Catholic believes God, the Pope is basically a God. That's not right.
Well, it's not exactly a God type of thing.
Well,
God's representative.
If the Pope says jump, they go how high, and that's not right. He's supposed to be witnessing to his people, his followers, and not be a king. The Pope's got a lot of power, but basically as much as our president does in a sense. And it's not right to get too, obligated to an individual as a human being.
Huh.
God is your supreme being.
Huh.
Period.
Funny, I thought the president didn't have much power anymore these days,
Well, he doesn't compared to the Congress, I don't guess. But,
So I guess the Pope doesn't have much power then either.
No, but you understand that it's not, necessarily me that makes the decision whether or not that you're in or not. Certainly I...
Then what's the good of being an Imperial Wizard? I mean, why would you want to be an Imperial Wizard if you can't even get to choose who gets a sheet or who doesn't?
What do you mean, as far as getting in? Well, I couldn't make a decision like that.
Well, then what's the fun of being an Imperial Wizard?
Huh?
What's the fun of being an Imperial Wizard? Are you the one who's allowed to light the cross?
Well, we can't get into all that. I mean, some things we don't talk about the Klan. I mean, there's certainly, I should not even mention over the air Clocan chief. But I'm just doing it for you and your listeners so they understand a little more. There's just more to the Klan than having a sheet over your head, stepping on cow patties, and lighting a cross.
Oh, but Tony, you and I are old buddies. Come on, you can tell me.
Well, let me put it this way. Insignias, the book, the opening, yes and no's, as a supreme officer, I can dictate.
Uh-huh.
But if I'm going to run an organization, my followers must have a little power, too, and feel comfortable.
How many followers do you have?
Well, enough to get by. We're in Florida. We're in West Virginia.
Not enough to raise $10 worth of gas money to get down here.
Well, on top of that, I've got a guy picking up some pigs at 6 o'clock, so I had to wait on that, too.
Michael, look at that! Miserable pizza over on the FM side. I don't believe that. I'm sorry, Tony. They're just delivering a pizza over to the FM side.
Well, that's bad, because I like pizza. Of course, being Italian and a wop. some for me. I probably should have come over
How
there.
about if I put you on hold and I go over and get some? Tony, please stand by. We'll check in with Don Richards, our very own, I guess he was dubbed the Imperial Buddha this afternoon, for a WFLA news brief. Donald. Tony, do you have a good talk station like this up in your neck of the woods?
There's a few up in Leesburg. I do a few shows there now and then, and I did one out in Phoenix the other day, and up in the Big D in Detroit the week before last, and so I do quite a few off and on.
Who's the best talk show host that you've ever?
Well, of course, Bob Lassiter, WFLA Tampa.
Okay, let's go to Auburndale. Hi there, you're on the air at 970 WFLA.
Hey, Bob, how you doing?
Oh, great.
Tony, what's up?
Hey,
I don't think anybody from Auburndale could be all that bad.
Thank you. My hometown.
I'm a graduate from Auburndale. Are you calling from Auburndale or down in Ocoee?
No, I'm in Lake County now.
Lake County?
Yeah. Say hello to everybody in Auburndale.
Yeah, I will. I bet you half of them's listening. Old Bob right there. Everybody likes his show.
Good. Good.
I think everybody's been cutting you down, but I went to a couple of your rallies. And
friends call each other.
I don't think y'all that bad. I never got to personally handshake or anything, but the last meeting, I believe, was at the city park here in Auburndale.
Yeah.
And it was a couple, it was one group there, long hair boys with holes in their jeans.
Is Tony the only celebrity that you know?
Who was that?
Tony Bastanzio.
The other Klan group that was
Yeah.
Well, we got that all straightened out.
Yeah, did you? Because I thought there was going to be a big-time trouble there.
Well, the Klans in Florida have got all their problems straightened out.
Well,
it's going well.
They looked a little aggressive, and your team, they bagged you and everything, and I was standing there, and then hell, all it all seemed like was people running to the trucks,
Well, the Klans nor white people need to fight. Even though Bob's a good old white man, and him and I don't agree with each other on everything like that, but white folks need to stick together. That's important.
Well, that's the way Auburndale is. I mean, you step on our turf, and we take 2 steps forward, and half the town's like that. Now, not everybody feels the same as far as the Klan, but I don't got nothing against them. I don't belong to them, but all my family's just about sent them, and I got a uncle up in Pensacola. He's a dragon up there.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
UKA or?
I'm not even sure, really. I'm not sure. But I'm from Caryville up there, around just 30 miles from Dothan.
I've got an office in Bono.
Just 30 miles from where?
Dothan, Alabama. That's where I'm from originally.
I understand now.
It's UKA country.
And all my people up there, we never had no problem. I mean, we're just good people, and we just respect what's right. And I think people, been calling today, just been cutting you down, and you're not really all that bad. People just got down and sat down with you at a table somewhere.
No, that's true. That's probably if they took the time to speak.
It's all on the radio, and most of them ain't got the damn balls to look you in the face and say half of what they say.
Well, I would let them do it even to my face, and then try to sit down and make them understand where I'm coming from, and I think they'd come to my side if they gave me the opportunity.
I think they would, too.
Dawson,
I've thought about several times, getting involved in everything. I hadn't done it. I know there's dues and everything to be paid, but, that's about every club you get into. And
it's that way, even
didn't charge any
Bob
dues.
Lassiter has
No, I beg your pardon. We didn't charge any dues at all for the Bob Lassiter fan club.
He's got a Bob Lassiter fan club.
That's right.
$10 a month.
Yeah, had to what was that 25-cent stamp to get in your show there.
Well, guys, I really hate to do this, but I'm fresh out of time for today, and maybe tomorrow, maybe some other time. You never know when, who, what, why, or how will show up on the program. Yes, indeed. We'll do it again tomorrow afternoon at 3 o'clock, possibly.
If the cost of air conditioning your home has got you hot under the collar,